Hello. This is a quick demo of a proof of concept Hydra voting system for POCRE. In this demo, we're going to simulate a litigation process where multiple users are going to vote to decide the outcome. All the voting is going to take place on Hydra, and this will allow for a much higher degree of concurrency and reduce the amount of information that needs to be stored back on the layer one Cardano network. So what we're seeing on the screen here is just three browser tabs simulating three different users being logged into the application here. So we've got Bob, Carol, and David. And on the right side of the screen on each of these tabs, I've just got the DevTools open so that we can take a look at what's actually happening behind the scenes. All right, so first step is, as Bob, I'm just going to create a claim against somebody else's creation here. So this very original creation, another user named Alice has created on here. And I'm going to go ahead and basically contest that and say that is in fact me, Bob, that is the author. So we'll just call this a demo claim and give it some kind of description. And select the creation. It's the only one in the system right now for the demo. And then we'll see here, yes, it's authored by Alice currently. And so go ahead and publish this. And so what we're seeing on the right is a bunch of messages here. So the very first one that I've got highlighted was just showing the initial state. So this is connected to the backend server. It's a delegate server that is going to basically facilitate the interactions with the Hydra head. And these are WebSocket messages going back and forth between the browser and that server. All right, so the initial state here is just saying that it's essentially waiting for some kind of claim. Second message here was the actual submission of that claim that we sent to the server. And so it has some information here about who is creating the claim, uh, what it corresponds to, the Hydra head ID, which we obtained in the very first message, and then a jury that was selected as well. For the purpose of this demo, it's just going to be those two other users. And if we scroll down through the different states, what we should see is essentially there'll be a datum on the Hydra head that contains the relevant information about this claim here. So we have the terms that we took a look at just before, but also it will contain the actual votes themselves. All right, so right now everything's empty. We've got nothing in terms of yes, no, or abstain. And so I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to the other user, Carol here. We'll take a look at the litigations tab, and it's showing that, okay, yes, indeed, we have something to vote on. All right, so we're seeing the demo claim. If I go in to drill down on the details, we'll see that the current author is Alice. The person who created the claim against that is Bob. And we see the details of the creation that the claim was for. And so I'm going to go ahead and just agree and say yes. And to prove who I am, I'm just going to sign some information here. And that transaction essentially will be submitted through the Hydra head. Let's just drill down here. So here's what we sent essentially, right? So we've got basically the public key hash, the signature that verifies who we are, and the vote, which in this case was a yes vote. Server's responding back with some status updates, but the very last status here, if we drill down, we should now see that the datum on the Hydra head, it is now updated to contain our yes vote. And I'll go ahead and just quickly do that for this other David user. We'll say we agree, yes, as well. Okay, and so after a very brief delay there, as it's processing, we should see several messages. A lot of information is being exchanged to finalize this claim, because in this case, all users. Um, it was only a jury of two, just for this simplistic demo, and we've all voted. So on the Hydra head, it's going to transition through um, multiple states, and then arrive hopefully back at the original state where we started, which is saying it's awaiting commits again. All right, so now another claim could go through, and same process as before. All this happening on the Hydra head, but at the end, the final outcome will get settled back onto the layer one Cardano network, and be stored, the outcome, in the transaction metadata. Right, and so that's just a very quick demo, just showcasing how the interaction works. But you could imagine in a real world scenario, there could be hundreds, maybe thousands of users who are all trying to vote simultaneously. And to try to do that on layer one, you would just run into a lot of contention. You're going to run into bottlenecks on the blockchain itself, and a lot of just unnecessary, transient information that would be stored immutably on the blockchain, just taking up more space than is necessary. And so in that scenario, we've got thousands of people voting, and it's all happening, lightning fast on the Hydra head. Then at the end of that process, we can essentially discard that information. It settles back onto the layer one blockchain, just much more efficient voting process. And yeah, and that concludes the demo. Thanks for watching.